Today we're going to be talking about things to pack for your hospital bag. I've already given birth, so I'm not going to really pack the bag for you, but I'm going to tell you things that I wish I had known before I went to the hospital, and hopefully you would be better prepared than I was. So let's get into it. The most important thing that I could tell you is don't pack a hospital airbag, pack a stroller. Now the thing is that you could go into labor at any time, and when you're 9 months pregnant and already having contractions, in case you're alone, you have to call a taxi or you have to wait for somebody to come and you're trying to get things moving to go to the hospital, it's going to be really difficult for you to carry a heavy bag. So pack a stroller with wheels. That's going to be much more convenient for you to carry on. You could just zip it up and roll. So that way you're not lifting any heavy weights while you're already starting your contractions or if you're already in labor. Now let's get into what should be in your bag. So I will go through a list that I've made and tell you how many of each things you would need to pack. So clothes for the baby. So you would need to carry onesies, you would need to carry a little tying clothes, the little cloth clothes that overlap, because you really don't know how big the baby is going to be. I've done a separate video on newborn baby clothing, so you could check that out. But you need to have enough of clothes for the baby for at least 3 to 4 days, because you never know if the baby is going to be put into NICU or if you are going to be in the hospital a little longer. So always be prepared with a few extra sets. Clothes for the baby, onesies, you're going to need at least 7 of them. If you're preferring to use the cotton clothes that overlap, you're going to need at least 4 for a day minimum. So you're going to need caps because it's going to be cold and newborn babies generally feel really cold. So little baby caps, mittens and baby socks. You're going to need a baby towel. Now I prefer using a large hooded baby towel. So this is the size. It's by the brand Juniors, size 75 into 90 centimeters. Now the size of the towel really matters because in the beginning, if you buy a towel that is too small, it might be okay for a newborn, but it's not enough to wrap around the baby. So a minimum of 75 centimeters would be necessary to be able to swaddle the babies and have enough to hold, because they're really tiny and you don't want to drop a wet baby. So go for a bigger size where you can just wrap it and then carry the baby out. You also need baby washcloths. Now I would say these are also by the brand Juniors, but buy at least 2 to 3 dozen of these. Now these are little towels. If you can see the gradient, it's absorbent towels. It's not something that is too smooth. Absorbent, it's rough. It's like the cotton towels. Okay, and you need something that is thin and not too thick. This basically you would use to wipe up spit up, wipe the baby because they burp a lot, and you would go through maybe a dozen or 2 dozen a day. So if you're from a climate where it's going to take time to dry, buy 3 dozen. If not, just 2 dozen of these should be fine. You're also going to use these towels for yourself, because if you're breastfeeding in the beginning, you're going to need towels also. Newborn baby diapers. I recommend the brand of Pampers newborn baby diapers. If you can afford it, go for the premium kind as well, because the newborn baby diapers you would need only for the first 1 or 2 weeks. So I used a pack of 60 and after that I moved on to size 1. You're going to need 8 to 10 baby diapers for a newborn baby, and this number would decrease maybe after the first month, but for the first month you would be using anywhere between 6 to 8 or 8 to 10 diapers depending on how often your baby goes. And the first few days in the hospital you're also going to have a baby giving a meconium, so those are diapers that you won't immediately you would have to change. So for the first 2 weeks I would say keep enough of newborn baby diapers, and babies gain weight very soon after they are born, so you will move to the size 1 very soon. So newborn diapers, I would say get a pack of 60 to 75 and then get the size 1, maybe about 150 of them, and then you wait to buy the size 2. So along with diapers, you're going to need baby wipes. I use the Mothercare Baby wipes. I've also done, you can check my review on the Mothercare Baby wipes. This is the brand that I recommend. You would need at least 2 packs of baby wipes to start with in the hospital. It's good to keep 2 packs, 1 handy and 1 in your bag. Blankets and swaddles. This is a shawl that I have got. This is also from Juniors, but it's big. Okay, I'll give you the dimensions of this. So this is ideal to make a triangle and use it as a swaddle to swaddle the baby. So this works as a blanket as well as a swaddle. I had about 5 of these that I used in the first 3 months of giving birth. And that was enough. Like, I just needed 5 of these swaddle cloths. This is one of my favorite baby swaddles. This is also by the brand Juniors. Okay, I'll give you the dimensions. This is 75 by 100 centimeters. So this is ideally a good size. So you could wrap the baby in this, as well as it's good to hold when you're carrying the baby, just to wrap the baby around. But this size is what you should go for. Anything smaller than this might be a little too small to wrap the baby. You could also use the ready-made swaddles which you can get on Amazon. So use whatever you're comfortable with. So blankets and swaddles, at least 4 of them would be in. You would also need mosquito net. Get one which is just the net, and you also get one which comes with the cushion. So I preferred using the one with just the net because it was convenient for me to carry it in my baby bag wherever I was traveling. I could take it to the hospital as well, and it's much easier to place the baby on a bed and just have this net around it. So this is how it comes. It can fold so thin, but it opens up like this. So you could place this on the bed and keep the baby inside. So you've got a zipper here. So you could just open it up and open this, and you place the baby inside and zip them up again. So this can be placed on your hospital bed beside you. It's also very easy to fold. You just fold it like this and then twist. It folds quite easily, and you can just zip it and then put it into your bag. You can even carry this around with you, but I found that this is lightweight, it's easy to carry around, and it's definitely a must-have. It's not any particular brand. I picked this one up from Lulu, and it was about 300 rupees. It wasn't very expensive either. You'd also need baby essentials like a diaper rash cream and baby cream, baby moisturizer. Also carry moisturizer for yourself because your skin can tend to get really dry, especially after birth. And when your skin is coming back to its original size, you're going to be really sore. So it's a good idea to carry with you a good moisturizer. I was using the Pampers cocoa butter right through my pregnancy, so I use that in the hospital. But you can carry a moisturizer of your liking. After the baby is born, the nurses are going to come to you and ask you about giving the baby a bath. In my case, I had advised the nurses that I didn't want the baby being exposed to soap in the first 1 week. This was actually advice from my mom, that babies are born with a very protective layer on their skin, and it's better to let that layer wash off by itself with warm water. So I had asked the nurses just to wash the baby with warm water, and we didn't use any product on the baby for the first 1 week. It depends on you whether you want to use a product. If you're using a product, make sure that it is very gentle and safe for newborn. So you'll have to provide clothes for the baby, you'll have to provide soap as well as a towel, and some hospitals do provide a baby towel, but in case they don't, it's always better to carry at least 2 baby towels. As I mentioned to you the sizes earlier, you can keep one small one and one large one. Also take smaller baby towels just to wipe the baby's head. Like swaddle them in one and then use a smaller towel to wipe the baby's head. This is something that I wasn't anticipating that they would ask me for the towels, because I thought that the hospital would provide, but the hospital provides only 1 towel. And you would also need to carry feeding bottles and a feeding bottle cleaning brush. I don't think it's necessary to carry a sterilizer with you, because the hospital will always sterilize your bottles and give it to you. Carry at least 2 feeding bottles just in case you're in recovery, or if you've had a cesarean and the nurses would be feeding your baby formula. In that case, you would need to provide them with the feeding bottle of your choice. I was using the Tommy Tippy Closer to Nature feeding bottle. I'm just going to tell you a quick tip. Now, this is something I didn't know. When you buy a feeding bottle, there's going to be the months and the size given here. So that depends on the flow of how much liquid would actually flow. So this is the Tommy Tippy bottle that I was using. It's got the markings at the back, and you can see the positioning of the teeth. It's much more natural, and this doesn't have this has an anti-colic, so the baby will not be swallowing much air, and it would mostly be formula directly. Now we need to go to clothes for the mama. Now I was so excited with the birth of the baby and having all the baby clothes. What is baby gonna come home in? What would it be his first outfit? So I was so excited that I packed a lot of baby clothes, but hardly any clothes for myself. So I had what I traveled to the hospital in. I had maybe 3 or 4 changes with me, and then I didn't have any more clothes. I just took four dresses. So what happened was that I was being induced. So I was admitted for 2 days in the hospital prior to the baby being born. So for those 2 days, I used 3 sets of clothes, because they're going to keep scanning you, and they're going to the jelly for your ultrasounds, and they're going to be connected to the machines. In India, they will not be putting you in a hospital gown so often, and plus they do charge you for every single hospital gown that they give you. If it's the disposable type of hospital gown, every time they give you a gown, they're charging you for it. So I was only put into a hospital gown after about 30 hours of being in labor, and when I was actually ready to have the baby. I had a cesarean, so just before going is when they actually put me in a hospital gown. But before that, while I was being induced, while I was in labor, I was wearing my own clothes. So it would be advisable to pack enough of clothes for the mother. So I would say at least 6 sets of clothes, unless you're having someone who can go home and come back for you. In my case, the hospital was a bit far from where I lived. It's good to carry enough of clothes for the mom. Two things that you have to notice is, one is before the baby is being born, you're being connected to all these monitors. There's going to be a lot of gel put onto you, which is going to come onto your clothes. So you can't use these clothes after the baby is born. And the second thing is, once the baby is born, you're going to be lactating, so your clothes are going to get wet like really soon. It's just going to soak into your clothes. So you're going to be changing as often as the baby is changing. So if you're changing the baby 6 times a day, you are also going to be changing at least 6 times a day, because the baby is going to spit up. It's going to spit up on the mama. The baby is going to pee. Is going to pee on the mama. Even if you're wearing diapers on the child, there is also a chance that when you open the diaper to change, being a first time mom, you open the diaper and they're going to pee right on you. So things like that are going to happen. So it's better to be prepared and to carry sufficient amount of clothes for the mama. Speaking of clothes for the mama, you're also going to need sufficient number of abdominal underwear. And don't think that you're going to be wearing abdominal underwear only until the baby is born. Even after the baby is born, for a good 6 months, you're going to be still wearing the abdominal underwear until your stomach comes back to its original size. You're going to need something that is cotton. You're going to have a lot of bleeding, so you would want to wear underwear that is okay to be discarded for once you leave the hospital. You can also try New Mom disposable underwear. Check out the link below to see my review on the New Mom disposable underwear. Other than that, I would say you also need to carry sanitary pads and adult diapers, depending on which one you prefer. It's pretty interesting about the outcomes of both. So do check out that video on the New Mom postpartum kit. Nursing bras and breast pads. Now, nursing bras you would need immediately after the birth. Sometimes even before, when your colostrum starts coming in, you would want to switch. You should buy at least 1 size or 2 sizes bigger than your actual size. Or even if you buy it in the 3rd trimester, you'll have a general idea of what size to buy. You would need at least 4 to 6 pairs minimum to start with, and going ahead you can change. I'll just quickly tell you about the Philips Avent breast pads that I was using. So this I bought in a pack of 30. You would need to use breast pads only in the first 1 or maybe maximum 2 months. After that you would have a hang of it and you won't really need to be using as many breast pads, maybe just 1 or 2 when you go out. But majority of your breast pads you will be using in the 1st and 2nd month. I'll just open this up. It comes in individual packs, and if you open it up, okay, it's got a sticker that you could just stick it onto the inner side of your bra, and this is how it opens up. So this is a fold, and this is how you place it. So that it fits snugly in you, and it's very comfortable. There's hardly any plastic. You don't get a plasticky feeling. It absorbs. It's very absorbent. You won't have any leakage, and definitely this is something that you would need to carry to the hospital, as well as to be used in the first 2 months. Talking about breastfeeding, there are different kinds of clothes that you could buy post-maternity wear, but I would suggest, now, if you have the ones that are cut here, it's going to be exposing you a lot, especially you have random people coming in the hospital to check on the mother. You will have the nurses coming in, you will have doctors coming in, and there's a lot of people that keep coming in and out. So I got dress which has a horizontal zipper. So now this opens up both sides. Okay, so I'll just show you. You have a zipper, conceal zip. So it opens up from this side as well as from the other side. Now this makes it much more convenient and you're less exposed. Plus if you're feeling cold, you don't really want to be as exposed. So I would suggest go for at least 1 or 2 horizontal, and the rest of them you can buy as to your comfort. It's also a good idea to carry a breast pump to the hospital. It could be a manual or an electronic one, because you really don't know what would happen post delivery, whether you would need to pump, whether your flow would be excess or your flow would be minimum. So it's always good to have a pump with you, because even though hospitals do provide a breast pump, it depends on whether it's available at the time or what your situation is. So if you have a breast pump, it's good to carry a breast pump with you. You're going to need a pair of slippers for the bathroom, and also carry a toilet roll in case your hospital will not provide toilet rolls, or they may not give you enough of tissue. So keep extra toilet rolls with you for the bathroom. Carry your soap, carry a little shampoo and conditioner, because you're going to be feeling so icky. Trust me, a good hot shower is going to make you feel much better after the birth. So even if it's little sachets of shampoo and conditioner, that will go a long way if you don't want to carry a full bottle. You're also going to need tissues, snacks, energy bars, maybe some nuts, some chocolate, whatever the mother feels like eating, because you're going to be there for a few days and you're going to be hungry. If you think pregnancy hungry is hungry, you're going to be much more hungrier once you're feeding the baby. So keep enough of snacks handy. Also, some hospitals don't allow you to carry food in, so you might want to check with your hospital whether you can carry snacks or not. Keeping a hot water flask in your room would be great. If the hospital is providing you with a kettle, that's good. In case you need to mix formula, or even if you're mixing a cup of milk for yourself, having a hot water bottle would go a long way. Also carry a comb and hair ties, especially if I had long hair at the time. So carry enough of hair ties, carry a comb, so that you feel fresh. Carry a vanity to put makeup on at that time. Carry a phone and your phone charger. I would advise you, if you're having a professional camera or a camera being brought for taking pictures of the baby, ensure that whoever is coming to visit the baby is advised not to use the flash on a newborn baby, because it can end up damaging their eyes. So no flash for newborn baby, but you can take a normal picture. It also depends on whether the baby will open its eyes at the moment or not. Now we come to another important part. We finished the mama, the baby, and now the bystander. If it's your husband who's coming with you, make sure you have enough of clothes for him. Also maybe carry some snacks and some entertainment. If it's your mom, then ensure that she has enough of clothes as well. So ensure that your bystander is also taken care of, and you don't want and make sure the bystander knows where the clothes are kept. So if it's your husband and if you're the one who packed, make sure you show him where you have kept his stuff, because at that time they're not going to be able to ask you things. So if you have packed the baby bag and the mother bag, so then you need to tell them where each thing is, because the nurses are going to go to your husband to ask him for the feeding bottles or ask him for the formula feed. So whatever it is, he needs to be aware of what you have packed and what is packed where, so that there is no confusion and nobody is depending on you at that time. So if you could get him to pack the entire box, even better, so that he would be well aware of what is packed and what needs to be given and what needs to be done. So if you have particularly picked out what you want to be your baby's first outfit, or whether you want to have a particular onesie worn when he's coming home, make sure that your husband is well aware of it, so that you won't be disappointed at the end, and that things would go as per your plan. I'll keep a detailed list of what you need to carry to the hospital. Like this video or comment if you want me to send over to you. And I hope my tips have helped you to be more prepared while you are in the hospital. Wishing you a safe and happy confinement and a safe and quick recovery. Bye!